go from there. In
Yeah.
terms of,
We're going to begin the meeting with a pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Way to steal an agenda. Okay, first of all, I want to welcome everybody to tonight's meeting and then request a motion approving the village board meeting minutes from November 16th, 2023.
moved.
Second.
Any additions, deletions, comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Next on the agenda is citizen comments. Seeing citizens, when you come up, will you please come to the mic, give us your name, address, and then go.
Cindy Clark, 27 West Genesee Street. I just want to, yeah, really, I know. I just wanted to thank everybody that came last night to the PAC-B open house. I hope everybody had a good time. You had plenty to eat. And I also want to thank the village board again for all of your continued support for PAC-B TV. Thank you.
Thank you for what you do.
Hi, good evening. My name is Lindsay Hodkinson. I live at 9 East Oneida Street. Thank you for giving me a moment to speak tonight. I kind of wanted to raise something for your awareness. Yesterday at the crosswalk outside the Smoker's Path, going to crossing East Oneida Street, there was a child hit by a car. The day before that, there was a car accident. I've lived at my house for maybe 2.5 years. And there have been several times where I have gone out into the road to see what accident has occurred. A couple years ago, there was a kid that did a donut in the church parking lot and took out a few other vehicles during the high school graduation rehearsal. That crosswalk doesn't have a street light near it. When many kids are coming to school in the morning, it's pretty dark. And was wondering if there's an opportunity to make some changes there, whether it's some of those. I drove around to look at some of the other crosswalks in town to see kind of what's done there. A few of them have those light posts that look like they're solar powered to bring a little bit of light onto the road. I didn't know if there's a possibility of making that area a reduced speed zone for the school zone, given the church school there as well as Baker on that side as well, if that's a possibility to at least slow traffic down so the next time they hit a kid, it's not quite as damaging. And that if there's any kind of additional lighting or flashing lights or something that could be done there to help alert drivers to have more caution, even though it's pretty implied. Thank you.
I'll just respond to both incidents. The vehicle accident was a rear end. It was bumper-to-bumper traffic. Nobody was driving fast. And the one driver ended up leaving the scene. But I was actually at that incident, and there was no, it was literally bumper-to-bumper, and somebody obviously wasn't paying attention. We're working with the school district to review camera footage to try and get a license plate on that particular incident. And then the individual that was struck, we're still trying to determine whether they were struck or they rode their bicycle into the side of a vehicle. So that's still under investigation to determine exactly what the cause of that incident there is. So during rush hour times, I'm not sure reduced speed is going to help, only because nobody's going anywhere fast there anyway. To your other points, though, we've spoken to the board and we've discussed this issue before about having some better signage there as far as the lighted sidewalk signs and crosswalk signs. Obviously, it's not a state route, so that's something and a cost that the village would have to bear, but that would be a prime location in the village. I know those other crosswalks are on the list for the state to do. I had spoken to them 2 or 3 months ago. We'd be hopeful to get those done next year, but it's a 2 or 3 year cycle that the state is on for, I believe, Marble Street, at Syracuse Street, and then by the library, and then up on Brown Street and 48. But that would be an excellent location for if there was an opportunity for the village to invest in that particular type of crosswalk signage.
Do you have any information on, or could you get information on how much those things cost?
Most definitely. I don't, but I can.
And your other point was the crosswalk's dark. So what? I don't know where the streetlights are.
On the opposite poles of the, I don't know if there might be one between the crosswalk and the light at Oswego and Oneida. I'm not 100% sure, but there's not one on the pole that's right next to the crosswalk.
Okay. Could we, Chuck and Mike, look into that also, whether we can make sure it's lit so that people can see people? You're right, it's dark in the morning, it's dark at night.
Didn't we talk about, too, relocating one of the existing ones that's being replaced with a new one to that specific spot? Did we talk about that, or am I imagining that?
Say that again?
Didn't we talk about where we're getting new ones? There's already an existing one, the one out Smoky Hollow. Didn't we talk about that one having a light and being relocated to this spot?
I don't remember that. I'm envisioning those, someone pushes the button and the crosswalk signs flash up in light and draw your attention with an arrow. If you remember, I saw Mark's, I think, granddaughter came to the meeting literally 2 days after I had seen, or 4 days after I'd seen the same traffic crosswalk over in the town of Manlius, and thought that would be a great addition to our village at a state road. So, yeah, we'll look into that and address those concerns.
It is unfortunate that we get.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that we have snow removal. It's unfortunate we're in an area where that happens, because I believe those signs in the street make an immense difference.
Yeah, they definitely do. And again, still trying to determine exactly what happened with that incident with the person that was, the student who's injured. And then the other one was simply, somebody obviously wasn't paying attention in bumper-to-bumper traffic and drove into the back end of somebody else there. But your point is well taken.
Thank you. I appreciate
Absolutely.
it.
The solar lights that you're talking about, we do have one at Syracuse, or at Canton and Downer, and that was grant money, that one got put there, and there's one on Tappan Street, and we had got that a few years ago, some grant money. So there is two solar.
Yeah, I saw, when I was driving today, I saw two over on Tappan, one at the cemetery and one at Canton. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Certainly.
I just wanted to add on to what she was saying. As you guys know, I walk a lot in the village, and crossing the street, it's supposed to be a walkable village, but it's not often a walkable village. Crossing the street is hazardous sometimes, you know. Sometimes I pick a new, not expensive car. Like, they're not so rich, they can just go get another one. And I'm like, you will stop, I will go, and I go. But I'm well within the crosswalk, and they're far away, and they're not slowing down that much. You have to pick the cars, and I'm just saying it shouldn't be that hard to cross the street.
Are you referring to like by the library sailing and stuff?
By the library, other places too, like
Yeah,
where there's a
so-
crosswalk,
Right,
people don't
so,
like to stop.
no, and so that's why at the library and up at Brown and 48 and down at 48 and Marble Street there, we are going to have, the state has approved, and I spoke to them a couple months ago, we are on schedule to have it installed. When exactly, I don't know. Those particular crosswalks that will light up, and the signage on the side of the road when the person pushes the button will point down, and it will draw the driver's attention to slow people down, because we
Yeah.
know that the one by the library is very problematic. It's wide there, it's multiple lanes, and for us to try and get everyone's attention for somebody standing on the side of the road, and it's busy there. There's a lot of noise on the side of the road, a lot of signage with street signs and other things. So sometimes people don't really pay attention to who's looking to cross, and we understand that. So we're hoping to address those issues
Okay.
through some of
I just wanted
the,
to emphasize that it really is a village-wide problem.
understood.
If you want to, it's almost like, oh, the Grand Canyon, the other side of the village.
Understood.
There's times when I walk under the troll bridge because it's easier, than trying to cross other places if I'm going down
That's a good place to.
48.
Oh, no, it absolutely is, because,
What's
I
there
mean,
for?
the traffic, you've got a village that was designed in the mid-1800s, and the Four Corners isn't going to get any wider anytime soon.
No.
And the traffic isn't going to dissipate anytime soon, so.
I lived in California for a long time, and in California, if a pedestrian steps towards the curb, you hear, "Ee!" Everyone's braking because they enforced that law of pedestrians having the right-of-way to the point drivers did not.
Well, I'm gonna cut you off there. You can't just step into traffic and expect people to stop.
No.
That's not in the VTL in New York State.
But when I'm.
I understand your point, because I've been in those locales too.
Right, and I'm just.
You do have to wait for a break in traffic under the law here.
Right, but if you see someone trying to speed up, from a distance,
Sure. Again, we're working to try and address some of these issues through design and implementation as well as enforcement.
okay. 'Cause-
There are advantages and disadvantages to having multiple state highways intersect our village. Absolutely. Yeah, and there's a trade-off, and drivers and pedestrians need to be careful.
Right, and I mean, pedestrians, obviously, we're always on the losing end in a car-pedestrian interaction. But there's a lot of times when cars just,
I think you're dancing around it a little bit, though. Are you just asking the chief, you'd like to see more tickets handed out for
I would.
the drivers? Is that what you're asking for?
I
Okay.
would like to see tickets handed out, because I believe if tickets are handed out on a regular basis, there's more of an incentive to stop the car.
I know, I grew up in Hamburg, and Ely DePaulo unfortunately got run down in Hamburg at a crosswalk.
Oh,
After that occurred, the entire area changed, and enforcement of the crosswalks really started to become an important aspect of it. Tickets got handed out a lot. My sister-in-law wasn't exactly happy about that. But word got around, and now if you go to Hamburg, you can walk, like you said, like California. You're ready to cross, you're standing there at the crosswalk, people stop.
right.
But we also have walkers around here, though, that aren't even doing, like, you think they're going to walk across the street, and they're just standing there at the crosswalk too. So it's an education thing I think we need to get as a community, where the walkers are being responsible walkers, the drivers are being responsible drivers, and we are kind of working that all together. But
I just wanted to bring it up. But
Thank you. Yeah, and this isn't germane just to the village of Baldwin.
certainly not.
This is a region-wide issue.
Certainly, yes.
Very good.
Anyone else? This is your chance. Okay. Thank you for those who brought comments to us. Moving to trustees' comments. I'm going to start with you, Eric.
I'll stick to the agenda tonight.
Cool.
Agenda's good, thank you.
I need to add an item to the agenda, a request to purchase an additional 200 water meters for our water metering replacement program at a cost not to exceed $50,000. This is an unbudgeted item, and the money would be coming out of the water and sewer fund balances.
Anything else?
No, just the agenda, thank you.
And I'm going to piggyback onto what Megan said. For those of you who are here tonight, the water meter replacement program has been something we've been pursuing for years, so this is just a continuation. I think Chuck said the south side of the village is done. We hit a snag when COVID came through and we couldn't go anybody's houses, so we got stalled there for a while, but now we're back on it. Oh, I have my own line.
You do.
Ruth?
I'll stay with the agenda, thank you.
You do. I just want to hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving, and I'll stick to the agenda.
And I don't really have anything to add. I just wanted to apologize for coming all bandaged up like I've been in a brawl. Instead, I was just lying there while somebody cut on me. Moving on to department heads. Our attorney.
I would ask for an executive session to discuss a litigation matter with the board. And I'm glad that you let us know that it wasn't just a very contentious DPW committee meeting.
I was thinking I looked like I had gone out with George Foreman or something. And as the black and blue spreads, I'm sure it'll be even better. Jody,
I will stick to the agenda, thank you.
Mr. Treasurer. Oh, he wants the microphone.
I never stick to the agenda. Just a couple of things I want to point out to you, that when you go to pay bills tonight from the abstract, that there's a invoice in there that you're paying for paving at Canton Woods, and that's being reimbursed by Onondaga County through the goodness of our friend Brian May. And I think Ruth and Chuck arranged that. So it will probably show, I think we're going to get paid almost immediately, but it'll probably show as an overage and then wash out quickly. And if it doesn't, I'll bring it to your attention. Secondly, this is always the biggest month of bill paying that you'll do in the whole year. So you just should know that we paid pensions today, or we're going to pay pensions today, tonight, tomorrow. And that's a big number, and that's going to transition me into the budget discussion. We just have, I think I talked about this last year coming out of COVID, that I knew there were going to be some expense challenges, and we're going to have some expense challenges. I think it's absolutely doable, but you'll see it when you get it. Things like insurance, our liability insurance went up probably 8 or 9% this year. That's a decent sized number. Our health insurance went up 12%, I think. Pensions are going up probably 12, 15% for next year. So all those things that are kind of, you know, I don't know how pensions fits into that. That's just New York State. But the insurance piece absolutely is an issue for sure. And I saw it in my household too. So, so unless there's any questions, you will get an email from me probably over the weekend and
Thank you for this.
Oh, absolutely.
Providing
Should
us
each
with
have
that
gotten like a
information.
workbook? Yeah, that would, good. I'm glad you said that. Should each have gotten a workbook that has the sheet, the request sheets from all of the department heads, and that's all in there. And you can be reviewing that, and then there will be a budget summary sheet that will pull those together for you to look at before the Tuesday meeting, and that'll kind of give you an idea of where we are and then where we have to get to.
And I want to thank the department heads for the work you did in preparing these documents, and then give you a challenge over the next week to look at what you've done and have in the back of your mind where you might be able to recommend cuts to us if we need them, which we'll figure out. Our budget meeting is set for next Tuesday at 6:30. That is a public event. If those of you out there want to come in and sit back there and watch, you're more than welcome. With that said, we'll go to Ruth.
Well, the senior center is in full-on holiday celebration, so we've got a lot going on. Last night, the Baldwinsville Community Band was there, and the place was full. It was packed. It was a great night. The band did a wonderful job, and people really enjoyed it. And last Friday, we lit our tree, so I want to thank the DPW for making sure that it was ready, and the switch was ready to be thrown, and the rest of the building looks great. And I want to thank Trustee Seco for joining us and helping with that party. It's always a fun evening, and so we're in full swing over there with that. Second, I just want to let folks know that Onondaga County Office for Aging has made COVID tests available through us, so if you need them, we do have them. And in addition to that, they are partnering with Nescentia Healthcare to provide COVID vaccine for homebound seniors. So if you are homebound or a member of your family's homebound and having trouble accessing a vaccine and wants one, just call the senior center and we'll get you the number and get you connected so that can happen. And other than that, unless anybody has any questions, that's it.
Thank you.
Yep.
DPW, Chuck.
We're pretty much in a winter mode now, although yesterday and today, we were fortunate to get a contractor. We've been trying most of the summer to get a contractor up on the end of Festa Fairway to clear one of those detention basins that hasn't been cleared in a lot of years. And our walkthrough with the EPA and the DEC, they targeted that we needed to get that taken care of. And they got a slot that opened up this week. We got them in there. They took care of it. Looks great up there. We got it seeded and straw back on it, and the area looks good. And we've done two of our problem ones, and we have another big one next year to take a look at, see how we want to do it. We're into December. We keep getting calls every day about, are we picking brush up anymore? Brush is done, the Parker trucks are done, and we'll see in the spring. So anything that people have, we'll see in the spring to pick it up. Other than that, unless there's questions, I'm all set.
I'm just going to make a comment. I had to go to a grandson's basketball game in Oswego, so I drove through the city of Fulton and north and saw, I thought, wow, they have a lot of snow. And no, they have a lot of leaf piles that are covered with snow in the streets. So to your point, yes, it's no longer time to do that.
Right. And we did get, I apologize, we did get held up the last week on, we had to stop the brush pickup for a week because the grinding machine finally got here to grind everything up, and they've spent a lot of time elsewhere because they've been busy. So at the last minute, we got them in here for 3 days, which put us a week back. But we're also able to get through before the snow to get through one last time. So we did what we accomplished for, but it just got right down to the wire. But we're done till spring now.
Chief.
Oh, thank you. Obviously, over the Thanksgiving week, we had both the turkey trot and the parade of lights. And, the turkey trot went well. That morning, I was at the high school station there, one of the officers. We had a couple reports of missing people, but fortunately, we found them rather quickly. And then the Parade of Lights event has grown in size and scope every year. And we've had to bring in more staff for that event. And next year, we're going to really need some further assistance regarding staffing because of the number of people that are coming here now, and we'll try and find assistance where we can from outside entities if we're able to. And I will have to determine where those costs might be borne by because of, again, the size and scope of this. Lieutenant Lockwood does a tremendous job with both events. He writes the operational plans and kind of coordinates the no parking signs and the things needed for both of those things. On Saturday for the Parade of Lights, he was in at 5 in the morning to make sure that the barricades were set up in the downtown area where they needed to be. He was back in when I was here meeting with the emergency management folks, putting up the pole cameras. He was back here at 11:15, had a meeting at noon, and then stayed throughout the entire event. It never left after that. Next year, we're going to have a lot more no parking signs put up on many of the side streets along the Brown Tract and things, just because there's no way we could have gotten an emergency vehicle through there if necessary. So those will be discussions between myself, Chuck, and the board, really, as to who's going to be responsible to do those things and what entities we're going to look to for assistance and things. So fortunately, both events went very well. They're great events in the community. They're obviously well attended and a lot of fun for people to be at. And just want to really thank Lieutenant Lockwood for his work and effort on the operational plan for both of those, because it's quite a daunting task. So just my comments on those two events, and unless there's any questions. Great, thank you so much.
Moving on to pending business, there is none. New business, item A, a discussion motion regarding the vacancy of the office of mayor.
I'll make a motion. Make a motion to talk about it?
I don't know, what was your thought here, Johnny?
I indicated that there is a vacancy in the office of mayor. The deputy mayors serving. And if there's any, the appointment of a mayor, if one is to take place, is done by the Board of Trustees. The mayor appoints all other officers to fill vacancies. So this is just a space if the board wanted to take any action. Otherwise, the deputy mayor does not become the acting mayor. The deputy mayor just continues to serve until a mayor is either appointed by the board or at a special election or at the next election. So I think I just had suggested it be put on the agenda if there's anything that the board, any action that the board wanted to take tonight. Otherwise, it can go on until the next meeting or until the board decides to take action or until the March elections.
Very good.
So we gotta, or is that, we don't need to act on this.
We don't have to do anything unless someone has a motion they want to make.
Do you have a motion you want anyone to
Yeah.
I'm not making a motion. I'm in doing this thing.
I'll make a motion to appoint Bruce Stebbins as the new mayor.
For the time period of.
Till the next election.
To the next election, it would be yes.
I'll second it.
Yeah.
Discussion.
Now is there discussion?
Yeah.
No, you don't, oh. Okay, anybody on this side? have any
Been here
discussion?
since we've been in high school.
Yeah,
All good.
I think it's just showing.
Not that long.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And Jody, I'm not voting. Just to be sure. Okay, I guess that item is carried. Item B, motion to declare Lenovo ThinkPad as surplus, authorizing the sale of the Lenovo ThinkPad.
Moved.
Second.
What is
It's
it?
just a brand name.
What's a ThinkPad?
It's a laptop.
Oh, okay.
What, can I ask what department this is coming out of? Coming from? Do we know?
Yes, it's the former mayor.
Oh, okay.
Oh, right. Okay.
Does the new mayor want it?
No,
You just even know what
what it is, but no.
Can I just make a point? It's, you know, having some background in that, it's like a 12 or 14-year-old laptop.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
It's like, I mean,
It's
I
obsolete.
kind of thought it was valueless, but we thought that there should be some exchange of cash to make it a real deal, but it's, I think I've thrown away much newer ones.
Well,
And are we removing any village
Oh,
information?
yes, it's being, that's a good
Okay.
question. It's being
Okay.
scrubbed so it's completely clean of that stuff.
Okay.
And,
Perfect.
Yeah.
All the questions I had.
Okay, so we have a motion to declare it as surplus, and the same motion authorizes the sale of it, correct?
Yes,
We have a motion and a second?
yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. A motion to appoint Roseanne Wicks as an alternate member of the Zoning Board of Appeals effective 12/8/2023 at the rate of $50 a month.
motion.
Second.
Any discussion?
I think,
Just welcome you to the zoning board.
Yeah.
say, I think she's here.
Yes. Anybody doesn't know who Roseanne is? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Try not to spend your monthly stipend all at one time. And welcome aboard.
Yep.
Motion approving the Village Justice Annual Audit for the year ending February 28th, 2023, done by Linda Gabor, CPA of Grossman, St. Amour, and authorizing the mayor to sign said audit.
Moved.
Second.
Discussion? Did you want to add anything, Jody?
No, it'll be forthcoming for you to sign.
Okay.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, motion to set a budget work session for March 1st, 2024 through February 28th of 2025, budget on December 12th, 2023 at 6:30 PM.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Motion to approve budget modifications as proposed in the document Budget Modifications 2023-12-07.pdf.
Motion again.
Second.
I'm going to ask the treasurer to go over those budget modifications for the public's sake.
Yep, I'll go over them real quick. The first one is an increase in the village justice contractual line item, A1110.4, and it's for the purpose of funding the contractual person that we had while we had a vacancy in the village court. That budget line was okay, bearing the cost of that up until like a week ago, and you had previously approved that. And I think the way we had left it was that we would come to you and modify that budget if we had to. And that's what we've done for the amount of what we had paid that contractual person. And that came from the contingency line in the budget. Second one is, and Chuck may be able to clarify more what the vehicle was, but I think it's a snowplow for the sidewalks, or?
We had ordered a V-plow for the sidewalk plow and a snow blower, and it was a year out, and then there was a problem with V-plow, and they couldn't fix it for another year and a half, and I told them we wouldn't pay them until it fixed. They finally fixed it, and now.
It had gotten dropped out of the budget, the cost of it. So this is to restore that into the budget, again, from contingency to pay for that. And the third thing is modifications to authorize the increase to the police pension payment by $19,417. And that is just, we get a projection from the New York State retirement system, like we got one now for next year, which will be next December. And sometimes it's really close and sometimes it's not. And I think some of that is them and some of it is actions that we may take if we have overtime that factors into it, things like that. Same thing happens with the regular staff pension, but we have the option, because we have people that work for the water and the sewer funds, to lay some of that cost off onto those funds, and we don't typically exceed the budget with that one because we can do that. And but the police pension one has to be borne by the general fund, and so that's what that one is for.
And these are new employees taking pensions, or?
No, it's just everybody, all of the officers, and it's all the police staff really, that before you're fully vested, you pay into the pension, and we pay. And then once they're vested, then we continue to pay. And it's just a schedule we get from the pension fund of how much we owe based on what we report as hours worked and things like that, and salary.
Okay, so this is our portion into that pension. Okay.
Right. And this happens every year, right? And is this
Yeah, like I think last year we were really close, and this year we were actually being off by 19,000 on it's like a $350,000 bill, and we were off by 19 grand. So I'm like, it's actually,
Yeah.
pretty. And the state pension funds have told us that their pensions they're going up. We're going to have to continue to pay rising premiums, and I'm not sure there's anything we can do about that, or I'm not sure what we can do about it. It's just the way it is.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Mark? All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Carried. Item G,
I'm going to make it again.
I want you to make
For
it
the
as a
record.
motion as opposed to a request this time.
All right, motion to purchase an additional 200 water meters for our water meter replacement program at a cost not to exceed $50,000. This is an unbudgeted item to be taken out of the water and sewer fund balances.
I'll second that.
And it's split evenly between the two funds, because that's how sewer bills are generated also. Any other questions? Comments? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Chuck, is that enough to do the rest of the village, or we still got a lot more?
Yeah, how many more?
We're gonna have a couple more.
Do you know how many meters there are?
2,800.
2,800.
I'm not sure how, the south side's done, and we'll get a number for how many are left. But it's been a very long process, just because of the COVID and not getting, and it took a long time for people to let us back in their houses again, even after the COVID thing. And some of them were most people were good, but we had our issues getting into a bunch of them.
When we started this, we had projected a 5-year time plan. COVID messed it up.
COVID.
And then also, I know that for a while, you weren't able to do just, we're going to do Division Street, because the meter in Bruce's house failed, and one of those goes off the shelf and goes over to the other side of the river, and that was going on all the time.
I hate to keep using COVID, but it is a real thing.
Yeah.
It just messed things up for a long time.
Sure.
You will also see in those budget books that there are more meters budgeted for next year.
Oh, good.
So it's, yeah.
We're out of them now, that's why we asked.
Those two funds are funded pretty well in recognition of, the possibility of an expensive repair needed and things like that. And, but this is money well spent.
And part of the problem is that we're replacing the meters because in many cases, the meters are not reading the amount of water used correctly, so we're either underbilling, or I suppose it could be overbilling, but that would be unusual. People, this,
The meters are designed to slow up when they get older, so there's really not much of a chance of them overbilling, but there's a big chance of them underbilling. And
okay. Beyond that, I want to thank everyone for coming, because we're going to adjourn into executive session next. Can I have a motion to move into executive session?
Moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
This.
Okay.